concrete proof that a close friend's spouse is cheating, and he or she has been doing so for quite some time, would you tell him or her, or would you tell him or her? If yes, why? If not, why not? What would you do?
I will tell her and tell her that's not the right way to live, and that's it. But I wouldn't tell him.
Hold on. So who is doing the cheating?
Not a woman.
Who cheating? The man or the woman in this case?
The woman that is cheating.
Oh, so if her friend was doing the cheating, she would tell her friend about it. She would tell her that's not the way to live. But she wouldn't tell the guy that the friend has been doing that. The opposite. The opposite. The question said the opposite, right? So you know the spouse is cheating. What would you do, Cassandra? Would you tell her? Him or her?
No, nothing.
You wouldn't tell her anything. Wow. So you just watch your friend go through that for years upon years and not tell them anything?
Listen.
She just wants somebody.
No. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I will tell her, you know why? Because I don't want to be the friend who's watching my friend be a stupidity. Right? A lot of times we sit back, we watch people, we watch them take pain, we watch them be used and abused, saying, oh, she had to know, woman's supposed to know when again. Not everybody. Listen, you can stop talking to me if you want, but I'm not going to be the friend who's going to watch you and sit back and say nothing.
All right. All right. So the question was, what if they don't break up, right? How would that affect the friendship from there on out? So what?
You want to take?
Well, if it's a true friend, Tanika, I think they'll be very appreciative. Give words of encouragement to a single parent who hates their job, but they have 4 kids at home to take care of. Clara, what's your advice to them?
You continue to do your job and you find, what
Yeah,
you really,
find
because you have to
something else.
provide for your family. So, yeah.
Okay. Continue until you can find another means. Until you can find something else to provide for your family. The last thing you should be complaining about is the place that's actually keeping you guys alive and well.
Word of encouragement to someone who is in an abusive relationship. Well, encourage the person to seek help. Do not stay in the relationship and feel the weight of it, but try to get some help.
And in your opinion, what is seeking help? Should they go to like the authorities? Should they seek like a pastor, a close friend? What is help?
I think that they should go to the authorities. Yeah, I think that's the best.
You think that's the best approach?
That's the best approach for me.
Okay. All right. So her question was, what of encouragement for someone in an abusive relationship, right? And her encouragement was to seek or get help. And I asked her, well, what is her definition of seeking help? And she said, going to the authorities. Do you guys think that they should go to a close friend or a pastor for assistance with this? What do you think? What do you think, Dale? Then you don't have no encouragement for them?
Sit home and trash it out.
Sit home and trash it out? You watch what's the show with Jennifer Lopez? Enough? You want them to sit and train and then hash it out with the person?
Sit home and trash it out.
Wow. So they have 2 bits of advice. They seek help through the authorities, or according to Dale, they stay home and trash it out, all right?
Oh, when I was growing up, to be honest, my bedtime routine was go to your bed and stay in your bed, right? But the truth is, as Kellon said, I'm a really strict person. That's a proper word to use, right? So my kids would kind of have the same bedtime routine. They're not allowed to have tablets or phones during the week. Okay. So most of the time by 8 o'clock, they're supposed to go to their bed. So after they have like probably a cup of tea or some cereal, maybe bread and cheese. I don't do anything heavy in the night. Straight to your bed. You don't dare wake up and pick up anything.
They can't even knock on your door for something.
Listen, I leave my doors unlocked. They're pushed closed, but it's unlocked, right?
That ain't right.
No, listen. And many a times I might get up and close it during the night, right? And open it again, right? But it's unlocked for the reason if there's emergencies, right? Or they're not supposed to get up during the night unless they go into the bathroom or something.
Gotcha. Yeah, like there should be an off, you know? Why do you close your door inside? I mean, she said it's open all the time, but there are these times when she can get up and close it. I guess the draft comes in, so she needs to close the room. As follows. What is one government initiative that you think should be put to an end, and which one you think needs to remain forever? Dale, what's one initiative you really love and one you just think they should just stop? Just one. We can start with the one that you really love. What initiative that we have that you really love? The free education is good, yeah. But you wouldn't benefit from it, but Dale, come on. So what, you want free adult education?
Listen, I teach grade 6, right?
Grade 6, yeah.
Right? And I feel like since they've started the universal education,
Yeah.
right, there are many students, more than 50% of the class, that and they don't even try because
What's that? They can't read and write?
they can't read and write.
But then you said universal, but the universal education is different to the free education plan,
Listen,
right?
I'm not talking about free education. I'm talking about universal education.
I should tell the lady what we're talking about. Where we talk about free education.
I'm saying that's the one they should end.
Oh.
I'm saying that's the one that I think.
Okay, so you think universal education should be put to a stop, but free education is fine.
Yeah, that's fine because.
But you know that there are pros and cons to the universal education, right?
Yes.
So don't you think that if our teachers become more equipped, they're going to be able to assist our students better if we
Half
keep
and
it?
half and half. I believe that there's so much more we can use to help our students, but I believe that the students need something to, like some extrinsic motivation to help them walk after something.
Yeah, I remember when CPA results time, you're so excited what we passed for, who passed. They don't have that anymore.
Education doesn't stop the fact that children that they're separating the levels of students. So it doesn't stop that.
Okay.
You still have students who they class going to the top schools or class going to the quote
Because at the end of the day, they
schools.
still did an exam, so we still know the
doing that.
performance.
They're still doing that. Is the fact that we have students who are going and they are feeling that they do not have to work for anything. And if you look at CPA started in 2012, right?
Okay.
Right?
Really?
And I think 19 and 20-year-olds right now have done CPA. And if I watch among the population of 19 and 20-year-olds, I feel like I don't even have to push buy enough groceries, so I don't have to walk again and go back to work next week.
So you're saying that this
I feel like
impacts
it's
the long term, the long term.
that it's just a lazy back mentality for everything. Because
I think as it said, there's both sides of the coin. There are some persons who are not driven, but I wouldn't count that as a majority. And so I think if we have a more intrinsic system that will be able to cater to both ends, what motivates X, what motivates Y, we're going to be better off in the future. But just like COVID, a lot of our decisions and a lot of things that we have done are going to have great repercussions coming in the next few years. So as far out as we can see the forecast, let's just prepare.
Just saying, maybe one of the controversial ones would be the cannabis regulation, where they want to legalize.
Guys, the cannabis regulation.
Yes, where they want to legalize cannabis. I think that's a controversial one. I'm not sure where I sit at the moment because there are pros and cons being being discussed, and they're legitimate, or they sound practical in both instances when you're talking about medical marijuana and the monies that it can make and so on. But I know traditionally where we have had some negative about marijuana on a whole. So the question is really whether people are willing to open their minds and accept that there can be positives from this marijuana. Yeah. It's interesting I got this question. What is the top tourist attraction in Grenada, in my opinion? Yeah. And this one is interesting for me because actually I am in the tourism field, and we have recorded that at one time Annadale waterfall was the top. But again, people are visiting Grenada for various reasons. So following Annadale, on some occasions you will see Grandance Beach being one of the top, and our underwater sculpture park is right up there as well. And with the recent addition of about 31 new sculptures, it has really sparked some renewed interest in that area. But again, if you look at August, when we have our carnival, then Spice Mass becomes a top as well. So there are a number, again, it depends on what you're interested in. But those are normally the top ones. And of course, the climate, the beach, Grandance Beach is also one of the tops as well.
You're planning a vacation to another country. What is the first thing you research about the country?
I hope you guys heard. Oh, well, it seems like you heard because I heard you said crime, right? So that's the first thing you guys are going to research, the crime rate of the country. No. The cost of living for you.
Climate.
What type of climate it is? If it's hot, cold, what else? What are we going to research? How about things to do? Transportation. True. That's true. If we're planning a vacation, I think we need to figure out how we're going to get there first. And where have you been? What about you? When you go on vacation, my dear, what do you do? Do you play tourist or do you try to be more like a local?
The last time I went on vacation was for business.
Business.
I couldn't.
Yeah, that one was business.
It was well, I could say it was semi accommodation.
Oh, okay. So on the day when it was, so the hours that you clocked into vacation mode, what did you do?
Shopped.
Okay, so you play tourist. She was tourist, right? Because sometimes the locals, they don't even shop in some of these stores. They're watching us and wondering why they going inside of this store there. Because that's not even place they will go for themselves. So we play tourist.
Are invited on a double date and found out that your partner's friend is your ex. What do you do? You're invited on a double date and found out that your partner's friend is your ex. What do you do? I don't see the big deal. I don't know.
You are your mother's last surviving child. However, your mom is toxic. She has come. She has some narcissistic tendencies. Will you cut your relationship with her to preserve your sanity and have her only grandkids grow up without a grandmother? I think I would cut the relationship. I would cut the relationship because I wouldn't want to contaminate my child with a narcissistic behavior and tendencies and the toxic traits. Ladies?
You notice that a small as well as a large amount of money in the last 2 years have gone missing from the church account. But listen, but you and the head pastor are the only one who access to the account. Listen. So, what is your next move? The secretary, there's a problem. Pastor, there's a problem. Yeah, that's the problem. Always the pastor and the secretary. The secretary is most important.
Oh,
The, the secretary is the most correct. Signing. She know all the information. No, they never said me the secretary. They said, they said I, me and the pastor, nobody access to the money, but the secretary always have access to the pastor. Well, I tell the pastor, well, pastor, sorry, be on your own. Yeah, me.
You're invited over to your boyfriend's house. I'm married, madam. Where's the first place? Where's the first place you're heading?
so back then, tell us about the past.
Then
Where's the first place you're going, Tanika? In the picnic kitchen?
boyfriend's house. What's the first place I'm heading? Then, to be honest,
The veranda?
I was really shy, so I didn't want to be around people.
What?
No,
You're
because
shy.
no, that's why. Because I never want to be around your family and things like that. So,
She's shy, so she's going to the bedroom.
no, I was shy.
I find it very strange. You understand? Sit down outside on a chair. Can you bring me a chair outside? She just gone straight. And you're very bold. It wasn't shy at all. But bold. Sandra, you invited to your boyfriend's house back then, if you were ever invited to. Where you going first? Kitchen?
I sit down in the living room.
Living room. You watch some TV, connect with the family, Tanika. You sit down and not say anything. You sit down and not say anything. We assuming that he's still living with the parents.
I just told me wasn't connecting. Well, if I find out my boyfriend, how can I make one now?
Asha, you know what? I'm curious. Sheldon, you're invited to your girlfriend's house back then, right? Where's the get? Hold on, Abigail. I want to hear from a guy's perspective. You're invited to her house, all right? Where is the first place you're headed?
Yeah, on the porch.
Wait. Oh, on the veranda. You ain't going even inside the door.
Why do you
So I wonder why it's okay for the girls to go in the bedroom.
Mommy always say, come in.
Yeah.
When I'm guy, put a woman play at your place, and the father comes inside. Why do you I just waiting for something.
We just wanted to get a plate of food. Oh man, it's poor men indeed. It seems like the men have the bitter side of the cake to deal with.
Encouragement to the parents who put their lives, goals, and aspirations on pause to support their child's dream.
Wow, that's a big one.
Huh. I'm in support of that, right? Because they didn't bring themselves here, right? I'm not putting myself on the back burner, though. I'm also going to follow through with some of the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make sure that you have the best childhood possible, the best teenage years possible, the best starting of your adult life possible. Because I'm going to help you start your adult life. I'm going to be the parent who's going to probably give you the down payment on your rent and so on.
Papa.
Yeah. No, I'm going to do that because listen, it doesn't be nice to say this, but I'm not the most tolerant parent ever. However, no, it's the truth.
Off the record. Yeah.
Right? However, I know I'm the parent who's going to make sure that you have everything possible and you get a taste of everything that life has to offer. Because I feel like I'm the reason you're here. You don't have to take care of yourself. You don't have to fight up to go to study, fight up to have a house. I'm supposed to make that foundation for you because you didn't choose to be here.